The boy brought flowers for his teacher, but the bouquet held a secret. Ryan Anderson clutched the bouquet of colorful gerbera daisies tightly as he walked down the hallway of Lincoln Elementary School in Chicago. His small hands trembled not from nervousness, but from determination. Hidden among the flower stems, carefully wrapped in white paper, was an envelope containing all the money he had managed to save over the past 2 months. It all started the previous Thursday. Ryan had forgotten his pencil case in the classroom and went back to get it after recess. The door was slightly ajar, and he heard a sound he'd never heard before. His favorite teacher, Emily Roberts, was crying softly while fiddling with her phone. "Please, doctor, just 1 more week. I promise I'll get the money," she whispered into the phone, her voice choked. Ryan froze, unsure whether to enter or leave. Emily always came to school with a smile, always had a kind word for every student, and always seemed like the happiest person in the world. Seeing her like this left the 10-year-old completely confused. "My mother can't go without her medicine, doctor. She only has me." The boy's heart ached. He slipped away without making a sound, but he couldn't shake the image from his mind all afternoon. When he got home, his mother, Laura, was preparing dinner in the small kitchen of their 2-bedroom apartment in Oakwood Heights. "Mom, do you know Miss Emily's family?" Ryan asked, trying to sound casual. Laura stopped stirring the beans and looked at her son curiously. "I've seen them around. Why do you ask?" "Just curious. She seemed a little sad today." The boy's mother worked as a street vendor downtown, leaving home at 5 in the morning and only returning late in the afternoon. Ryan knew she worked incredibly hard to manage everything alone, ever since his father left 3 years ago. Still, Laura always found a way to be there for the important moments in her son's life. "Ryan, sometimes people go through hardships we can't imagine. The important thing is to always be kind to everyone." Those words echoed in the boy's mind in the days that followed. He began watching Miss Emily more closely and noticed things he'd never paid attention to before. She arrived at school at 6:30 in the morning, an hour before normal. During breaks, instead of resting in the teacher's lounge, she graded papers and assignments. And when the final bell rang at the end of the day, she didn't leave with the other teachers. The following Monday, Ryan decided to find out where she went after school. He hid behind a tree in the courtyard until he saw her leave through the back door. Emily walked to the bus stop and boarded the bus heading downtown, the same route his mother took to work. The next day, the boy asked his mother to pick him up later, making up an excuse about an extra activity. When Emily left, he followed her again. This time she got off in front of Washington High School on the other side of town. Ryan watched from a distance as she hurried inside. Then it clicked. Miss Emily worked at 2 schools, maybe even 3. That's why she always looked exhausted by the end of the day, why she sometimes had dark circles under her eyes, and why she had been crying that Thursday. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, take a moment to like and subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now back to the story. Ryan came home that Tuesday with a determination that even startled his own mother. He went straight to his room and started sorting his toys into 2 piles, the ones he actually played with and the ones he could sell. "What are you doing, sweetheart?" asked Laura, leaning against the bedroom door. "I want to sell some toys I don't use anymore, Mom." "What for?" Ryan hesitated. He didn't want to lie to his mother, but he also didn't know how to explain without sounding nosy. "To buy a gift for someone special." Laura smiled. She thought her son had developed a little crush on one of his classmates at school and decided not to press the matter. She helped Ryan pick out the toys in good condition and even suggested a few he'd forgotten at the back of the closet. "You can set up a little stand at the farmer's market on Saturday next to mine. That way, I can help you sell them." Ryan's heart leaped with joy. It was exactly what he needed. All week long, the boy kept watching his teacher, Emily. He noticed she always brought the same lunchbox, always turned down offers from other teachers to share a snack from the cafeteria, and always walked whenever she had to leave the school during lunch break. On Thursday, Ryan witnessed a scene that confirmed all his suspicions. He was coming back from the bathroom when he saw Emily in the hallway, talking on the phone again. "Mom, did you take your medicine today?" she said, her voice worried. "I know it's expensive, but you can't stop taking it. I'll figure out a way to get the money by Friday. Ryan felt a lump in his throat. Teacher Emily wasn't struggling just for herself. She had a sick mother to care for. On Saturday morning, Ryan woke up before his alarm. He and his mother carried a folding table and his toys to the farmer's market, which took place every week in the neighborhood square. Laura set up her small goods stand, and Ryan arranged his toys beside it. "Oh, how adorable," said Mrs. Martha, a lady who always bought dish towels from Laura. "The little one's starting his own business." "It's to buy a gift for someone special," Ryan explained, repeating what he'd told his mother. All morning, Ryan sold toy cars, action figures, games, and even a handheld gaming console he'd gotten for his birthday. Each sale was a mix of joy and sadness. Joy because he was raising money to help teacher Emily. Sadness because he was saying goodbye to toys that had been part of his childhood. "Are you sure you want to sell this car, Ryan?" asked Mr. Walter, an older man who always bought vegetables at the market. "I remember you playing with it when you were younger." "I'm sure, Mr. Walter. I need the money for something important." By the end of the morning, Ryan had collected $120. It wasn't much for an adult, but for a 10-year-old boy, it was a fortune. He tucked the bills into the envelope he'd prepared and wrote a simple note. "For the most special teacher in the world, from a student who admires you very much." Laura was curious about her son's dedication, but respected his privacy. She'd been through tough times herself and knew how much it meant when someone showed kindness unexpectedly. On Monday, Ryan woke up with butterflies in his stomach. He'd spent all Sunday thinking about how to give the envelope to Emily without making it awkward. He decided the best way would be with a bouquet of flowers. That way, it would just seem like a sweet gift from a student. With the leftover money from his toy sales, Ryan bought colorful gerbera daisies at the flower shop near home. The shop owner, Mrs. Rose, was touched by his gesture. "What a thoughtful boy," she said, putting extra care into the arrangement. "Your teacher is going to be so happy." Ryan hid the envelope among the flower stems, making sure it was subtle but still visible. His heart was pounding as he entered the school that morning. The first class went by normally. Emily explained about the US states and their capitals, as always making jokes to keep the subject interesting. Ryan participated in the activities but was anxious for recess. When the bell rang, most students rushed out to the playground. Ryan stayed behind, pretending to organize his backpack. When the room was empty, he approached the teacher's desk. "Ms. Emily, can I talk to you?" Emily looked up from the stack of tests she was grading and smiled at the boy. "Of course, Ryan, what is it?" I brought something for you." Ryan pulled the bouquet of flowers from behind his back. Emily's face lit up with surprise and emotion. "Ryan, how beautiful. But you didn't have to." "I wanted to give a gift to the most special teacher in the school," the boy said, holding out the flowers. Emily took the bouquet carefully, as if it were the most precious thing in the world. Then she noticed the white envelope nestled among the flowers. "What's this, sweetheart?" Ryan swallowed hard. He hadn't planned exactly what to say at this moment. It's a little letter. For you." Emily gently pulled out the envelope and felt its unusual weight. Her expression shifted from curiosity to concern when she realized there was more than just paper inside. "Ryan, may I open it?" The boy nodded, even as his heart raced. Emily opened the envelope and saw the folded dollar bills along with the note. Her face instantly paled. "My goodness, Ryan, where did this money come from?" "I sold my toys at the market, Miss Emily. It's for you." Emily sank heavily into her chair, still holding the envelope. Ryan could see the confusion and inner conflict in her eyes. "Sweetheart, you can't give me this money, it's yours." "But I want to, Miss Emily. You deserve it." "Ryan, children don't give money to adults. Do your parents know about this?" The boy lowered his head. He hadn't told his mother the real reason he'd sold his toys. "My mom knows I sold the toys, but she doesn't know it was for you." Emily took a deep breath, trying to process the situation. On one hand, she was deeply moved by the boy's gesture. On the other, she knew she couldn't accept money from a student, especially a child. "Why did you do this, Ryan?" The boy hesitated. He didn't want to admit he'd overheard the teacher's phone conversations. Because you're so good to everyone. And I thought, maybe you needed it." The words tumbled out with the sincerity only a child could have. Emily felt her eyes fill with tears. "You're a very special boy, Ryan, but I can't take this money. Please, Miss Emily. I won't use it anyway." At that moment, the classroom door opened and the school principal, Michael Peterson, hurried in. "Emily, I need to talk to you about—" He stopped mid-sentence when he saw the scene. "Sorry, I didn't realize there was a student here." Ryan quickly turned away to hide his flushed face. Emily tried to cover up, slipping the envelope under some papers on her desk. "Ryan was just giving me a gift, Principal Michael." "That's nice," Michael said, but his sharp eyes had noticed Emily's suspicious movement with the envelope. "Ryan, shouldn't you be at recess with your classmates?" "I'm going now, sir." The boy nearly ran out of the room, leaving Emily alone with Michael. The principal closed the door and approached the desk. "Emily, I saw you hiding something. What did the boy give you?" "Nothing serious, Michael. Just a sweet gift." "May I see?" Emily hesitated. Michael Peterson was a fair principal, but he was also very strict about school rules. She knew that if he found out about the money, it could create an awkward situation for Ryan and his family. "It's just flowers and a card, Michael." "Emily, I've worked in education for 20 years. I know when something isn't right. Please, show me what Ryan gave you." Reluctantly, Emily pulled the envelope from under the papers and handed it to Michael. The principal opened it, and his expression turned serious when he saw the money. Where would a 10-year-old boy get $120? He said he sold his toys at the market. And you believe that? Michael, I've known Ryan for 2 years. He's an honest and responsible boy. Even so, this is highly irregular. I'll have to speak with his parents. Emily felt her heart tighten. The last thing she wanted was to cause trouble for Ryan or his family. "Please, Michael, let me talk to his mother first. I'll explain the situation and return the money." "Emily, you know I can't let this slide. What if other students find out? What if parents think you're taking bribes?" The word bribe hit Emily like a bucket of cold water. She had never imagined Ryan's innocent gesture could be interpreted that way. "You know that's not it, Michael." "I know, but others might not understand. I'll have to call the boy's mother in for a talk today." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now continuing. When Ryan returned to the classroom after recess, he immediately sensed something had changed. His teacher, Emily, was quieter than usual and avoided looking directly at him. The bouquet of flowers sat in a vase of water on her desk, but the envelope was gone. During math class, Ryan tried to focus on the exercises, but his mind kept racing about what had happened. Had he done something wrong? Was the teacher upset with him? At the end of the day, as the students were leaving, Emily discreetly called Ryan over. "Ryan, I need to speak with your mother today. Can you ask her to come to the school?" The boy's heart sank. "Did I do something wrong, ma'am?" "No, sweetheart. I just need to clarify a few things about the gift you gave me." Ryan arrived home with a heavy heart. Laura was in the kitchen, preparing their afternoon snack. "How was school today, honey?" "Mom, Mrs. Emily wants to talk to you." Laura stopped what she was doing and turned to her son. "Did something happen?" "I think so," Ryan replied softly. "Did you get into trouble?" "I don't know, Mom. I really don't." The worry in her son's voice made Laura sit beside him at the kitchen table. "Ryan, tell me exactly what happened." The boy took a deep breath and decided to tell his mother the whole truth. He talked about overhearing Mrs. Emily's conversations, discovering she worked at multiple schools, and his decision to sell his toys to help her. Laura listened quietly, a mix of pride and concern growing in her chest. "Sweetheart, your heart was in the right place, but you should have talked to me first." "You wouldn't have let me, would you, Mom?" Laura hesitated. She knew her son's kindness, but also understood how easily such a situation could be misunderstood. "Let's talk to your teacher and clear this up, okay?" An hour later, mother and son sat in the small principal's office at the school. Michael Peterson was behind the desk with Emily beside him. The envelope with the money lay on the table, like evidence of a crime. Mrs. Laura, I called you here to discuss a delicate situation, Michael began. Laura looked at the envelope and immediately understood what this was about. Principal, my son told me everything. I know he sold his toys to give the money to the teacher. Did you know about this? I knew he had sold the toys, but I didn't know the real reason. Michael leaned forward with a serious expression. Mrs. Laura, the school cannot allow students to make cash donations to teachers. This could be misinterpreted. I completely understand, Principal. But my son is just a child. He acted innocently. Even so, I need to know, are you facing any financial difficulties? Is Ryan being pressured by someone? The question offended Laura, but she remained calm. Principal, I work honestly as a street vendor. We're not rich, but we're not in need either. My son did this out of the kindness of his heart. Emily, who had stayed quiet until then, finally spoke up. Michael, may I say something? Of course, Emily. Ryan is one of my best students. He's always been thoughtful and kind. I believe he truly did this just out of generosity. But you understand you can't accept the money, right? Obviously, I already told him that. Michael sighed and looked at Ryan, who was shrinking in the chair beside his mother. Ryan, why did you do this? The boy glanced at his teacher, Emily, and then at the principal. He knew that if he mentioned the conversations he'd overheard, it could put the teacher in an even more difficult situation. Because Ms. Emily is really good to everyone. She deserves good things. But where did you get the idea to give her money? Ryan hesitated again. He didn't want to lie, but he also didn't want to cause trouble for anyone. I just thought it would be a nice gift. Michael wasn't entirely convinced, but decided not to press the child further. All right, I'll return the money to you, Ryan. And I want everyone to understand that this kind of situation cannot happen again. Yes, Principal, Laura and Ryan replied in unison. When they left the school, Laura and Ryan walked silently to the bus stop. His mother felt a mix of pride and worry over her son's actions. Ryan, you have a very kind heart, but you need to understand that sometimes our good intentions can create problems for others. I just wanted to help, Mom. I know, sweetheart, and that's why I'm proud of you. But next time, talk to me first, okay? That night, Ryan barely managed to eat dinner. He kept wondering if Ms. Emily would still be able to buy her mother's medicine. He wondered if she was upset with him. He wondered if he had ruined everything. The next morning, he arrived at school afraid to see Emily. When he entered the classroom, she was writing on the board as usual. When she saw him, she smiled warmly. Good morning, Ryan. Good morning, Miss Emily. Are you mad at me? Emily stopped writing and walked over to his desk. Ryan, I could never be mad at you. What you did yesterday was an act of pure love. I'm the one who should be proud to have a student like you. The boy's eyes filled with tears of relief. So everything's okay? Everything's okay, sweetheart. But everything wasn't okay for Emily. That morning, after the students left, she received a call she'd been waiting for days. Hello, Dr. Henry. Emily, I'm calling about the overdue payment for your mother's medication. Doctor, I promise I'll have the money by Friday. Emily, it's already been 2 weeks overdue. I can't keep supplying the medication without payment. Please, doctor. My mother can't go without her medicine. Look, I'll give you 3 more days. If you don't settle the debt by Friday, I'll have to stop the supply. Emily hung up the phone with trembling hands. It was $400 she simply didn't have. The school salary barely covered basic household expenses, and the money she earned from private tutoring at night was hardly enough to buy food. She thought about the envelope Ryan had brought. $120. It wasn't enough to pay off the entire debt, but it would be temporary relief. For a moment, she caught herself considering accepting the boy's money. No, she thought to herself. I could never take money from a child. During recess, Emily stayed in the teacher's lounge, trying to find a solution to her problem. That's when the gym teacher, Rachel, sat down beside her. Emily, are you okay? You look worried. Emily hesitated. Rachel was a dear colleague, but she always avoided talking about her personal problems at work. Just some family matters, Rachel. Want to talk? Sometimes it helps to get things off your chest. Emily glanced around the room. They were alone. "Rachel, can I trust you?" "Of course, sweetheart." Emily told her about her mother's situation, the expensive medications, and the struggle to pay for everything on a teacher's salary. Rachel listened with care and compassion. "Emily, why didn't you ever mention this before?" "I'm ashamed, Rachel. I don't want people to think I'm pitiful." "That's not shame, that's life. We all go through tough times." "But I don't know what else to do. I'm working at 3 schools and it's still not enough." Rachel grew thoughtful for a moment. "Emily, have you thought about asking for help?" "From who?" "From us, your colleagues, from the school administration, from the community." "I can't do that, Rachel." "Why not?" "Because I'm a teacher. Teachers don't beg." Rachel took her friend's hand. "Emily, asking for help isn't begging. It's recognizing we're human and sometimes need each other." In the days that followed, Rachel couldn't shake the conversation from her mind. She had known Emily for 5 years and always admired her dedication. Seeing someone so kind struggle bothered her deeply. On Thursday, Rachel made a decision. During the break, she discreetly spoke to a few teachers about Emily's situation, without going into too much detail. "Everyone, our colleague Emily is going through a tough time with her family. How about we organize a collection to help her?" The English teacher, Diane, was the first to respond. "Of course, Rachel. Emily has always been so supportive of all of us." The science teacher, Charles, also showed interest. "She lent me money once when I was in a tight spot. It's only fair to return the favor." Within hours, the news spread among the school staff. Everyone knew and liked Emily, and they were genuinely concerned when they heard she was struggling. On Friday morning, Rachel approached Emily before classes started. "Emily, can I talk to you?" "Of course, Rachel. We have a surprise for you." Rachel led Emily to the teacher's lounge where all their colleagues were gathered. In the center of the table was an envelope. "What is this?" Emily asked, confused. "It's a contribution from all of us," Diane explained, "to help with your mother's expenses." Emily turned pale and her legs weakened. "You can't do this. I won't accept it." "Emily, you've always been so generous with us," Charles said. "Let us return the favor." "But it's friendship," Rachel interrupted. "It's solidarity. It's appreciation for what you mean to all of us." Emily began to cry, a mix of gratitude, relief, and shame. "I don't know what to say." "You don't have to say anything," replied the principal, Lucy, who had also contributed. "Just accept it with love." When Emily opened the envelope, she saw there was $600, enough to pay off the medication debt and still have some left for other needs. "Everyone, this is too much money." "You didn't have to." "Oh, but we did," said Rachel, "because you'd do the same for any of us." At that moment, Ryan appeared at the teacher's lounge door. He had forgotten his pencil in the classroom and came back to get it, but ended up witnessing the whole scene. "Miss Emily, are you crying?" the boy asked, concerned. All the adults looked at Ryan with tenderness. Emily wiped her tears and knelt to be at his eye level. "I'm crying from happiness, Ryan. Sometimes people cry when they're very happy." "I'm glad you're happy," Ryan said, smiling. When the boy left, Rachel looked at Emily thoughtfully. "Emily, I need to tell you something." "What?" "It was Ryan who gave me the idea to organize this help." "What do you mean?" "When you told me about your troubles, I remembered his gesture. A 10-year-old boy sold his toys to help you. That made me think we adults could do something too." Emily felt her heart tighten. Ryan's small act had planted a seed that was now bearing fruit. "He doesn't know he inspired all this?" "No, and he doesn't need to, but maybe you should thank him somehow." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now, continuing. At the end of that afternoon, when all the students had left, Emily called Ryan for a private talk. "Ryan, can I tell you a secret?" The boy nodded, curious. "Remember the money you wanted to give me on Monday?" "I do, Miss Emily." "Well, today I received very special help from my co-workers, and do you know why?" "Why?" "Because your gesture made me realize it's okay to ask for help when we need it, and it also showed others how important it is to be kind." Ryan didn't fully understand what his teacher was saying, but he knew it was something good. So, my gift helped somehow. It helped more than you can imagine, sweetheart. Emily opened her desk drawer and took out the envelope Michael had returned the day before. I want to give this back to you, but with a proposal. What proposal, Miss Emily? How about using this money to buy school supplies for some classmates who need them? Ryan's eyes lit up. Do you know someone who needs help? I do. Jasmine from your class, for example. Her family is struggling and sometimes she doesn't even have a notebook to write in. Ryan thought for a moment. Can I help Jasmine and other classmates too? Of course you can. That way your money will help many people. Then it's a deal, Miss Emily. That night, Ryan came home excited and told his mother about Miss Emily's proposal. Mom, can I use the money from my toys to buy school supplies for my classmates? Laura smiled, proud of her son's generosity. Of course, sweetheart, but let's do it right. How about we talk to Miss Emily to better understand who needs help? On Saturday, Laura and Ryan went to Emily's house to plan their act of kindness. The teacher lived in a small but well-kept apartment in Olive Grove Estates, about 20 minutes from the school. When Emily opened the door, they saw a gray-haired woman sitting on the living room sofa. This is my mother, Mrs. Helen, Emily introduced. Nice to meet you, Laura said, greeting the woman. Mrs. Helen, this is Ryan, the student I'm always telling you about, Emily said. The woman smiled warmly at the boy. Oh, so you're Ryan. My daughter talks about you all the time. She says you're very special. Ryan blushed shyly. During their conversation, Laura noticed that Mrs. Helen truly was in poor health. Emily explained that her mother had undergone heart surgery 6 months ago and needed constant medication and medical follow-up. It's been hard to juggle everything, admitted Emily, but now with help from my colleagues at school, it'll get easier. Emily, how many schools do you work at? Asked Laura. 3. In the morning at Ryan's school, in the afternoon at the high school downtown, and at night I give private lessons. Goodness, when do you rest? On Sundays, Emily laughed. But it was a tired laugh. Laura felt an immediate connection with the young teacher. Both were hardworking women struggling alone to care for their families. Emily, if you need anything, you can count on me. I know how hard it is to handle everything by yourself. Thank you, Laura. That means a lot to me. They planned to buy school supplies for the students who needed them most. Emily had identified 5 children in Ryan's class who were facing financial difficulties at home. Let's surprise them, suggested Ryan. That'll make it more special. Good idea, agreed Emily. We can give them out on Monday during class. On Sunday, Laura and Ryan went downtown to buy the supplies. They picked out notebooks, pencils, erasers, rulers, colored pencils, and pens for each of the 5 children. Ryan insisted on choosing notebooks with bright, cheerful covers. Mom, I think this will make my classmates really happy. I'm sure it will, son. When they got home, Ryan had an idea. Mom, can I write a card for each classmate? Of course. What will you write? I'll say it's a friendship gift and that they deserve good things. Laura helped her son write 5 heartfelt cards, each personalized with a classmate's name. Ryan took care with his handwriting and added little colorful drawings to each card. On Monday morning, the classroom buzzed with anticipation. Ryan had told Emily he'd bring a surprise but didn't reveal the details. During the first lesson, Emily announced there was a special activity planned. Kids, today we'll talk about solidarity and friendship. She explained to the class the importance of helping one another and how small gestures can make a big difference in people's lives. And to show how this works in practice, Ryan has prepared a surprise for some of his classmates. Ryan stood up, nervous but excited. Laura had come to school to witness the moment and sat at the back of the room. Jasmine, Gabriel, Marianne, John, and Amanda, could you come up front? The 5 children stepped forward, curious and a little shy from the attention. My mom and I bought some school supplies for you, Ryan announced. For us? Asked Jasmine, surprised. For you. Because you're my friends, and friends take care of each other. Ryan handed each classmate a colorful bag along with their personalized card. When they opened them and saw all the new supplies, some began to cry with emotion. "Thank you so much, Ryan," said Jasmine, hugging him. The rest of the class broke into spontaneous applause. Emily felt her eyes fill with tears, seeing the pure kindness of those children. "Ryan, would you like to explain to your classmates why you did this?" The boy thought for a moment before answering, because sometimes people go through hard times and need help, and when we help others, everyone feels happier. Ryan's simple yet profound answer touched not only his classmates, but also the adults in the room. After class, Michael Peterson, who had witnessed the whole scene, called Emily aside. "Emily, what happened today in your classroom was extraordinary. Ryan is a very special boy, Michael. It's not just Ryan. It's the environment you've created in your classroom. It's the way you teach values to these children. Thank you, Michael. Emily, can I make a proposal?" "Of course. How about we document this experience and share it with other classes at the school? We could create a permanent solidarity project." Emily was excited by the idea. "Do you think it would work?" "I'm sure of it. What you all did today planted a seed. Now we need to nurture it so it can grow." In the weeks that followed, Ryan's story spread throughout the school. Other students began to draw inspiration from his gesture, and several mutual aid initiatives emerged among the classes. The 4th grade class organized a book drive for the library. The 5th grade class started a tutoring project where advanced students helped classmates struggling with their subjects. Emily became the informal coordinator of these acts of kindness at the school. She discovered she had a special talent for motivating children and organizing community projects. A month after the flower incident, Emily received an unexpected call. "Emily, this is Mary Ferguson from the city's Department of Education. Good afternoon. How can I help you?" "I'm calling because we heard about the Solidarity project you developed at Lincoln Elementary School. We'd like to talk to you about expanding this initiative to other schools in the district." Emily was speechless. "Really? Absolutely. Can we schedule a meeting this week?" "Of course. Whenever works best for you." 2 days later, Emily was sitting in a conference room at the Department of Education, presenting the project that had grown from Ryan's simple act. "Emily, your work is inspiring," said the superintendent, Dr. Matthew Collins. "We want to implement the Solidarity project in all the city's elementary schools." "Dr. Collins, I should clarify, the idea wasn't mine. It came from a 10-year-old student named Ryan Anderson. That makes the project even more special. Would you be willing to oversee its implementation?" "I will, but on one condition." "What's that?" "That Ryan and other students actively participate in the planning. After all, they're the ones who truly came up with the idea." Dr. Collins smiled. "Perfect. Let's make it happen." When Emily left the meeting, she was beaming. Not only had her work been recognized, but she'd also been given a professional opportunity she hadn't imagined before. That afternoon, she sought out Ryan at school. "Ryan, I have some very important news to share." "What news, Ms. Roberts?" "Remember the Solidarity project that started with your flowers?" "I do. Well, the Department of Education wants to bring this project to every school in the city, and you're going to help me plan it all." Ryan's eyes widened. "Me? But I'm just a kid." "You're the kid who started it all, Ryan. Your ideas matter." That evening, when Ryan told Laura about the invitation, she couldn't hide her pride. "My son, you're changing the world." "I'm not changing the world, Mom. I'm just helping a few friends." And that's exactly how the world changes, Ryan. One person helping another. Over the following months, the Solidarity project was implemented in all 43 public schools in Chicago. Ryan became a kind of junior ambassador for the project, visiting schools and sharing his story to inspire other children. Emily was promoted to the role of curriculum coordinator at the Department of Education, with a significantly better salary. This allowed her to reduce her workload and spend more time caring for her mother. Mrs. Helen, with proper treatment and less stress at home, showed considerable improvement in her health. She even attended some of Ryan's school presentations, always proud of the boy who had changed her daughter's life. Laura also indirectly benefited from the project. Some of the mothers who participated in the solidarity actions became customers at her street vending stand, increasing her monthly income. A year after the flower incident, Lincoln Elementary School organized a celebration to mark the first anniversary of the Solidarity Project. Ryan was invited to give the opening speech. "Everyone, a year ago I brought flowers for Ms. Emily because I wanted to help her. I never imagined it would turn into something so big." The audience, made up of students, teachers, parents, and representatives from the Department of Education, listened attentively. "I learned that when we help one person, we're actually helping many people, because kindness spreads like seeds in the wind." Ryan's poetic analogy drew emotional applause from the crowd. "I want to thank Ms. Emily for teaching me that it's okay to ask for help when we need it, and I want to thank my mum for teaching me that good people deserve good things." When Ryan finished his speech, the entire audience rose in applause. Emily was moved to tears, remembering how everything had started with a bouquet of colorful gerbera daisies and an envelope hidden among the flowers. Michael Peterson, now the Regional Director of the Department of Education, took the stage. "Ryan, on behalf of the entire public school system, we'd like to present you with a special honor." He handed the boy a plaque that read, "To Ryan Anderson, who taught us that true education comes from the heart." Ryan accepted the plaque humbly, but inside, he was bursting with happiness. "Director Michael, can I say one more thing?" "Of course, Ryan. I'd like to dedicate this honor to all the teachers who work so hard to teach children, especially to Ms. Emily, who always believed in me." Emily stepped onto the stage and hugged Ryan. It was a hug that represented gratitude, pride, and the certainty that small gestures can create extraordinary change. "Thank you, Ryan, for teaching me that being a teacher is so much more than just teaching subjects. It's about teaching values. It's about inspiring kindness. It's about believing in every child's potential." 2 years later, the Solidarity Project had expanded to other districts in the region. Ryan, now 12, continued to participate in the activities as a junior consultant, always accompanied by his mother. Emily had become a national reference in compassionate education. She wrote articles for specialized magazines, attended educational conferences, and even received an award from the Department of Education for her work. Mrs. Helen had fully recovered and had become a volunteer for the project, helping organize solidarity initiatives in schools. Laura had managed to rent a small storefront and turned her street vending into a little shop selling odds and ends with stable income and more flexible hours. At Ryan's elementary school graduation, Emily insisted on being the class's honorary speaker. In her farewell speech, she told the story of the flowers again, but this time with an ending no one expected. "Dear students, when Ryan brought me that bouquet of gerbera daisies 3 years ago, I was going through the hardest moment of my life. I was ready to give up on being a teacher." The audience was surprised by the revelation. His gesture didn't just help me financially through the chain of solidarity that formed, it restored my faith in education, in human kindness, and in the transformative power of love. Emily looked directly at Ryan. "Ryan, you saved so much more than my mother's situation. You saved my career, my dreams, and my hope, and for that, I will always be grateful." After the ceremony, Ryan approached Emily. "Ms. Emily, can I ask you something?" "Of course, sweetheart." "Were you really going to stop being a teacher?" Emily took a deep breath before answering. "I was seriously thinking about it, Ryan. I was tired, desperate, and felt like I wasn't making a difference in anyone's life. And now I know that every day as a teacher is a chance to plant seeds of kindness. And you taught me that those seeds always grow, even when we can't see it." Ryan smiled. "I'm so glad you didn't give up. Otherwise, other kids wouldn't have the chance to have the best teacher in the world." 5 years later, Ryan was graduating from high school when he received a special letter. It was from an 8-year-old boy at a rural school in the countryside of California. "Hi, Ryan. My name is Peter, and I heard your story through the Solidarity Project. I wanted to tell you that at our school, we've also started helping classmates in need. Teacher Carla always shares your story to inspire us. Thank you for teaching us that kids can change the world too." Ryan showed the letter to Laura, who now owned a small chain of 3 stores in the neighborhood. "Mum, look, a child I've never met is doing the same thing I did. And it'll be like that forever, my son, because you planted a seed that never stops growing." Emily, now the director of an institute for compassionate education, continued receiving reports from schools across the country implementing projects inspired by Ryan's story. During an interview for a documentary about education, she reflected on how one simple act from a child had created such a profound change. What amazes me most about Ryan's story is how it reminds us that true education doesn't just happen in the classroom. It happens when a child decides they want to make a difference in someone's life. The documentary ended with an emotional scene. Ryan, now 17, and about to take his teaching college entrance exam, visiting Lincoln Elementary School to speak to a new group of children. "Hey everyone, do you know why I decided to become a teacher?" he asked the 4th grade class. "Why?" the children shouted in unison. "Because I learned that the most important job in the world is teaching. And I also learned that anyone, even a 10-year-old, can be a life teacher to someone." A little girl raised her hand. "But how can we teach if we're still kids?" Ryan smiled, remembering when he'd had similar doubts. "You teach by being kind. You teach by helping those in need. You teach by showing you care about others. And sometimes, a simple gesture, like giving someone flowers, can change the whole world." As Ryan left the school that day, Emily walked him to the gate. "Ryan, you know I'm so proud to have been your teacher, right? And I'm so proud to have learned from you that being good to others is the most important thing in life." They hugged, teacher and former student, two people who had discovered together the transformative power of education and compassion. In the school garden, the gerbera daisies Emily had planted in honor of Ryan's first bouquet bloomed vibrant and colorful, symbols of a friendship that had changed not just their lives, but the lives of thousands of children and families across the country. The end. And what about you, dear listener? What did you think of this touching journey of Ryan and Emily? Let us know in the comments if you've ever been inspired or been the inspiration through an act of kindness. Your story might motivate others. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more heartwarming stories. Thank you so much for joining us.